today I'm going to make some pumpkin custard. Now this is my version of pumpkin pie because I never have time to make the crust. Who's got time to make crust? And the good stuff is inside. So I just make the custard, and I make this all the time. It's a great way to use pumpkin. It's pumpkin season right now. They're all over the place. These small pie pumpkins is what I use, but you can also use canned pumpkin, pureed pumpkin. That's fine. Just make sure that there's no added junk in there. But if you're going to use a pumpkin like this, what I do is I throw it in the oven whole at 350 for about an hour until it gets really nice and soft. And then I can make this entire thing just in my pie plate. So for this recipe, you need a pumpkin, a little small pie pumpkin. You're going to use about 2 cups or so of cooked pumpkin. You need some, I use coconut milk. You could use almond milk. You could also use regular milk if you want to. I use my homemade coconut milk. If you don't know how to make that, there's a video on my YouTube channel about how to make your own coconut milk. You could also just buy a coconut milk. I use about 1/4 cup of maple syrup, and I use some spices. I use cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves. Sometimes I throw in some allspice, and some sea salt. And I actually just keep this mix handy because I make this so often. So I just have it already pre-mixed, and I just add about 1 tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of the mix together. And you're going to need 3 eggs. Sometimes I put in 4. Like I say, this is a very versatile recipe. So once you've, I'll show you how easy it is. Once you've cooked it for, you can just undo it like this. Scoop out the seeds. This is cooled a little bit so I can handle it. The seeds are actually great too. You can take them out, wash them, and dry them. It's a great source of zinc for kids. Dry them and then salt them. Pumpkin is also a really nutritious food. It's got quite a bit of iron in it, calcium, some B vitamins, magnesium, and it's got a lot of beta-carotene, pumpkin, which is the precursor for vitamin A, and vitamin A is really critical for kids' development. The conversion of beta-carotene into vitamin A is not done super efficiently by children, and saturated fat really helps to make that conversion. So whenever you're having a beta-carotene rich food like pumpkin or squash or all those beautiful orange vegetables, try to have it with some saturated fat, and that will help with the conversion of the beta-carotene into vitamin A. So in this recipe, we're going to use coconut milk, and the coconut oil in the coconut milk is a great saturated fat. I'm going to use a potato masher to just mash it up, and I'm doing this right in the pie plate that I'm going to bake it in. You could do this in a blender if you want to. I used to do it in a blender, and then I realized, oh, I don't need to do that. I've got a couple seeds in there I'm going to take out. And then I'm going to just add everything else in. You could even crack your eggs right into it and then mix it up. I know if you're like some kind of professional cook or baker, this is probably a total no-no. But you know what? When you're short on time and you don't want to mess up too many dishes, this works really well. I'm going to pour my coconut milk in. So I used 3 eggs today. Sometimes I put 4 in. It's really quite versatile. If you want to mix up the wet ingredients before, you can do that. I'm just going to mix it right in here. I'm going to add in my spices. I've pre-mixed these. So again, I really don't measure, but we really like cinnamon in our house. And I find cinnamon also gives it a bit of a sweet sense to it without adding a lot of sugar. So when I put cinnamon, when I put lots of cinnamon in things, I can usually cut down on the amount of sugar I'm adding. And I'm using maple syrup here. You could use any kind of sweetener. And if you're making this for a baby or a young child and you don't want to add the maple syrup in, that's totally fine. We have a small child in my house, so sometimes I'll make this, I'll leave out the maple syrup, and some of us older people can put on a little maple syrup if we want to, but I'm trying to, you know, keep it out of the baby food. So that's it. There we have it. All done in one dish, no fuss, no muss. I'm going to put this in the oven for about 30 to 40 minutes, depending on your oven. Check it after 30 minutes, and then after 40 minutes, it should be good to go. You want it nice and brown on top. And I'm going to show you what it looks like when it comes out. Okay, here it is. This has been cooking for about 30 minutes at 350. It is nice and bubbly. It puffed up a little bit. This pumpkin custard is awesome for all sorts of things. I use it as a breakfast sometimes. I'll make it the night before. We'll have it for breakfast. I pack it for lunches. It makes a great dessert. It's one of those nourishing desserts, so that you know, if you're trying a new recipe or something and you're not sure if the kids are going to like it, you can make this kind of thing for dessert, and then at least if they, you know, didn't have a whole lot to eat for dinner, they're going to love dessert. One pan of pumpkin pie.